this is Sarah here, and I'm going to read you the story about David, a heart like God's. So let me begin. After King Saul stopped listening to God, God chose someone new to be king. He was just a boy, and he wasn't strong or tall like Saul, but he was brave, and much more importantly, he loved to listen to God. God told the prophet Samuel, "Go to Bethlehem. That's where the new king is." So Samuel went to the little town of Bethlehem, to the house of Jesse. You see, Jesse was one of Abraham's children's children. So it made sense that God would choose a king from that family. Jesse had 8 sons. But Jesse thought God would pick the next king based on who was the tallest and the strongest and the bravest, just like Saul. So he only brought out 7 of his sons to Samuel because they all looked like kings. But God doesn't always pick the people that we might think. Sure enough, God didn't choose the oldest son, or the next oldest, or the next oldest. God chose the youngest son who didn't king at all. His name was David, and he was just a shepherd. "I don't pick people the way you do," God said. "I'm not looking at how strong or tall David is. I'm looking at David's heart. See if it looks like mine." And unlike Saul's heart, David's heart was in love with God, and he wanted just what God told him to do. So Samuel, to everyone's surprise, poured oil on David's head, which was a special sign that David was God's chosen king. And God made David a prophet. He said that one of David's great-great-great-grandchildren would be the king that would conquer sin and restore Israel to God. And sure enough, God was with David. God and David did many great things together. He helped David fight a giant named Goliath, and he won. And he helped David fight a bear, and he won. And he helped David build a great city to keep God's people safe. He wrote songs of praise that even we sing today. And even in the hard times, David was trusting God, and God was with David. David knew that his heart was sinful too. He wrote a special song to God that was telling God all about how hard it was and how sad he was that his heart wasn't loving God. And he told God that he would try to love God again, and if God would take away those hard things and bad things in his heart, that he would renew his heart and make it new, give him a new heart to love God. And God did. And God chose David to be the king because he was preparing his people for an even better king than David. That king was the king who would conquer sin, the king that was born in the town of David, the King Jesus.